Diane, first of all, it's a pleasure to be talking with you and my good friend Santos. We have
Yes.
some questions and it will be a pleasure to...
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And your mission is your first time in Antara, where
Yes.
we're filming, which is a really cool Apple store here in
Yes.
Mexico City. So thank you for taking
Absolutely.
the time.
I'm glad we were able to use the space for this.
Yeah, we have a cheat sheet here with the questions and
Works for me.
Beto's gonna kick it off.
Personally, I love documenting my life, and there are times where I need to record or take photo as quickly as possible to capture that real moment. That's why the camera control helps me so much to just click and turn on the camera. How important was the feedback from photographers and filmmakers during the design the camera control?
Sure. Yeah. Well, the great part is that we're constantly gathering feedback from the creative community, photographers, filmmakers, folks like yourselves, and how you use it in your professional work. And a lot of that feeds into how we think about things like what are that next level of features within camera control, right? So for everyday people, we love it that you can just quickly take a photo, press hold, take a video, but then you have that next layer of sort of more pro level capabilities and how we integrate that with third-party applications too. And that allows even more professional tools to feed in. So we see what kind of tools people are using, reach out to those engaged developers to create even more capabilities for those users.
That's really cool. I recently, with the newest update, you can now use the auto focus on the camera
Yes.
control, and I find that really, really useful. What I wanted to ask about the camera control and photographic styles as well, which is another new thing with the iPhone 16. What drives the focus on camera features as a cornerstone of the iPhone story? And how do you think these imaging advancements actually help the final user?
Yeah, well, you probably hear us say a lot that the most important camera is the one that you have with you. And we see every day how, from everyday people to professionals, how important the camera is. You know, first for photography, you know, now more and so with video, more creative capabilities, even with the audio, with the video. And so we've really focused on that to make sure that these everyday benefits are going to be there through the camera. I love that you brought up photographic styles because it's been part of sort of a long-standing effort that we have to make sure everybody looks great in photos and everybody's happy with that. What we found with research through many different parts of the world is that there's not a one-size-fits-all solution, right? And how you see it might be different than how I see it, and we want to enable people to have those tools through photographic styles, where we picked a set of styles that we think are really representative of people around the world, and they can pick the one that's best for them. But we take it a step further, where you can customize it with that new easy interface, and that's what we would love people to be able to use that and unlock, you know, even more fun in how they show up in photographs, but of course making sure they're showing up in the way that they want to be seen.
Yeah, skin tones in particular,
Exactly.
right? That's
yeah,
very
skin
important.
tones, and there's so much nuance to that, and the lighting and where you are. That's a big part of that effort.
Kayan, if you had to choose your favorite lens from the camera of iPhone 16, which one will it be and why?
I would have to say, because of its versatility, is the 48 megapixel fusion lens, right? So you can get, you know, on the Pro camera system, you can do 24, 28, 35 millimeters. You can change the setting. You get the high resolution. You can shoot Pro RAW. You can do 24 megapixels every day. I got the 2x telephoto, which is the 48 millimeter equivalent. Like, it can do like everything, right? So that is the one if I had to pick. If I was able to pick another second runner-up, I would think it's an ultra wide, right? Because it allows more creative options. I use it in video a lot. I can, you know, and indoors, many times I cannot stand back, so I can use that 0.5 to capture more of a scene where I physically cannot with another lens.
I love the ultra wide, especially like for pictures, for selfies. When I'm with some people, like here, I was with Ariana Grande. And
Oh,
like,
nice. Oh, wow.
It's always like my go-to lens, so I can get everyone on the picture, you know?
Yeah.
So you do it backwards?
Yep,
Backwards.
we see people doing that for sure.
I've seen that trend as well. They love that ultra wide selfie. It's really cool.
I don't know, it's the feeling of taking a selfie, it's like different, it hits different. Like, I don't know, people like it better.
Yeah, and that's also great because, you know, we will put out a capability, and sometimes it's very delightful to see what people do with it. And I think that's where a lot of the magic happens, is like the people using it, our users, the creative community. That's where you really see the product elevated even more, and that drives us a lot for future inspiration as well. So now we say, oh wow, that's a use case of the ultra wide. People look at how they're taking macro, but look at how they're doing that socially, right? And so it makes us think about, well, where else can we take the future technology, knowing how people are using it today?
Nice. And talking about camera control and these new features, Apple's marketing often highlights like new groundbreaking features while also maintaining a sense of continuity and familiarity. I admire Apple's marketing in that aspect. How do you strike that balance between introducing transformative innovation but still keeping it comfortable with the iPhone that people love?
Yeah, well, thank you for that question. It's definitely an important consideration. And I think it's important for us as we introduce new things, we think about the journey that we're taking our users on, right? So that can mean things like, hey, we're introducing this year, but we know in 2 years we're going to go in this direction. So we want to be mindful of the step functions we take to get a user to that place. I think a great example of this practically is Action Button, right? We had the ringer switch there for so many years with a single purpose, right? And that's really important space on your iPhone. And so we saw this opportunity to let you customize, do more, from things like using it for camera all the way to using it for custom shortcuts, right? To launch apps that you like. But we started with, you still have it as a ringer switch if that's what you desire, right? But we have ways in software to control that. But for people who are very comfortable with that, that can be their starting point. But then of course they have the option to do even more with the vision that we had for Action Button, even now going to, with intelligence, using it for other things, you know, shortcuts and apps and everything that you want to do. But then going back to, hey, it's still a ringer switch if you like.
Right. I enjoy that because I see people like my grandparents that are so used to like buttons being where they are. So it's still good that there's that option. Then there's other guys like me, we're a bit more intense. We like to customize and get in there and do all these settings changes. So it's nice that there's that versatility.
Here goes a fun question.
Okay.
If you had to describe the iPhone 16 in 3 emojis, which one would you choose?
This is a very fun question. You know, I obviously with Apple Intelligence eventually coming everywhere, like the Genmoji feature is going to make that a lot easier, and you're going to be able to describe different things that you envision the iPhone to be and have it showing up. If I had to pick from the traditional set, I think I would start with the Rocket chip because of the powerhouse that is the A18 family of chip, the Apple Silicon propelling you for performance now into the future. I would pick camera. There's a few sort of camera creative apps, so maybe your icon of choice or your emoji of choice, but that I think based on what we've talked about. And then if I had to pick a third one, I would probably go with the mind blown emoji because
that's a good one.
Even though I've worked on phone for a long time, my mind is still blown every year as we look at more and more capabilities that we bring, how it just infuses into your everyday life and enables you to be so much more than who you are without it. And I hope that we can continue, you know, making true to that statement.
Wow, great choices.
Thank you.
I was wondering, being